She sat by the window every morning, watching the world move, people rushing by, birds flying freely, and children running after kites that danced in the sky. But she couldn't. Her legs hadn't moved since she was 5. Her name was Alina Kapoor, daughter of one of the richest men in the country, Rajveer Kapoor, a steel tycoon known for his empire that touched every corner of Asia. To the world, he was a powerful CEO, but inside his mansion, he was just a desperate father watching his only child suffer in silence. Doctors had given up years ago. From New York to Zurich, every specialist Rajveer could afford had tried, tested, and failed. It's neurological, they said, a rare form of paralysis triggered by childhood trauma. But no one knew what that trauma was. No injury, no fall, no accident. Just one day, Alina stopped walking. Money could buy machines, therapy, and hospitals, but not hope. And then, one rainy afternoon, hope knocked gently, in the form of a man no one expected. The story began far away in a small village named Devgar, where the monsoons came without warning and the earth smelled of wet mud. There lived a humble farmer named Raghav. He was no healer. He had no degrees, wore torn sandals, and lived in a mud hut with his old mother and 2 goats. But he had something the world had forgotten: belief. A deep, strange belief in nature, touch, and silent conversations between the soul and the body. People in Devgar called him Pagal Kizan, the crazy farmer. Because sometimes, he'd sit under the banyan tree and talk to the wind. Other times, he'd walk into the forest and return with herbs no one could name. But those who were broken, aching, or hopeless, they came to Raghav. And somehow, they healed. He had never left the village, never seen a plane, never touched a computer, but one night, he saw a news clip on a small battery-run television in the village square. It was about Rajveer Kapoor's daughter, how she hadn't walked for 13 years. Her eyes were empty, her father looked tired and angry, and something inside Raghav stirred. The next morning, he packed his jola with a few leaves, a clay bottle of oil he made himself, and an old photograph of his sister who had once suffered the same fate. He boarded a train to Mumbai, without a ticket, without money. Only belief. When Raghav reached the Kapoor mansion, the guards laughed at him. His clothes were muddy, his accent rural, and his story unbelievable. "I want to help the girl," he said. "She's not for your kind to see," one guard replied, shoving him away. But Raghav kept coming back, every day, standing outside the gates. Rain or heat, he stood silently, holding a wooden bowl with a paste he had made for Alina. Inside, Alina noticed him. Every morning she saw the same man through her window, dirty, quiet, but with eyes that didn't pity her. That mattered, because even though she had stopped walking, she hadn't stopped feeling. One day, as her father came to say goodbye before flying to Tokyo for a summit, she whispered, "Let him in," the man outside. Rajveer froze. Who? The farmer. Rajveer tried to argue. He was used to controlling outcomes, not surrendering to random strangers. But he loved his daughter more than his pride. And she hadn't asked for anything in years. Just once, she said. That evening, Raghav entered the grand halls of the Kapoor estate. The marble under his feet felt wrong. The silence was heavier than the soil he plowed back home. Alina was in her wheelchair, surrounded by expensive machines and therapists. She looked at him. He looked back, not at her condition, not at her wheelchair, but at her. Without a word, he knelt before her. He didn't ask what happened. He didn't give promises. He simply touched her feet and whispered, "Let me try." From that day on, he came every morning. He brought his clay oils, fresh leaves, and chants that weren't Sanskrit but something older. He didn't massage her legs with pressure. He spoke to them with his hands, sometimes humming, sometimes crying softly. Her mother watched from afar, unsure whether to believe or be afraid. "Why do you cry?" Alina asked once. "Because your body is listening," he replied. Weeks passed. Alina didn't move, but her sleep deepened. Her nightmares stopped. She began smiling. One day, she even laughed. It echoed through the empty mansion like a song. Rajveer noticed. For the first time in years, her eyes sparkled, not with cure, but with hope. "Is it working?" he asked Raghav. "I don't know," Raghav said honestly. "But she's starting to come back." And then it happened. On the 63rd day, as the sun set behind the Kapoor mansion and the air was thick with the scent of jasmine, Alina felt a twitch in her right toe. She gasped. "Papa," she screamed. Everyone rushed in. Raghav stood silently in the corner, tears flooding his eyes. She moved, her therapist whispered. Her toe moved. Rajveer dropped to his knees. Dash dash dash. The journey was long. It took 6 more months. But the impossible had begun. Every day, a new flicker. A new signal from the body. It was slow, painful, full of doubt, but one morning, with trembling legs and Raghav standing behind her, Alina stood. Not completely, not for long, but enough to collapse into her father's arms with joy. Media went wild. Headlines screamed about the miracle farmer. News vans lined the street. But Raghav refused interviews. I'm no miracle, he said. Her body knew the way back. I only reminded it. Dash dash dash. Rajveer offered him anything, money, house, land. Raghav refused. I just want to go home, he said. But why? Rajveer asked. Because somewhere in Devgar, another child is waiting for someone to whisper, let me try. Alina hugged him. You saved me. No, he said gently. You walked. I just believed. Dash dash dash. The story of Alina and the poor farmer became legend. But more than the miracle, it was the message that stayed. That sometimes, what the world calls crazy, is just a kind of wisdom we've forgotten. That belief is a medicine no hospital can sell. And that healing doesn't always come in coats and machines, but sometimes, in muddy feet and a whisper of hope. In the end, it wasn't the money, science, or status that healed the millionaire's daughter. It was a farmer's touch, a whisper, and a heart that refused to give up. Dash dash dash. End message for viewers. If this story touched you, if it reminded you of the power of hope, healing, and unseen heroes, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let's keep spreading stories that matter. Because somewhere, someone just needs a whisper, let me try.